I don't usually talk about career advice on this channel. I usually talk about how to rock your behavioral interviews. But so many of my behavioral interview coaching clients who successfully land roles at Meta, they just turn around and ask me, how do I succeed there? They get the job and they celebrate for a weekend and they're like, hey, Austin, I'm here. Okay, now what? I spent almost 10 years at Meta as a manager supporting over 200 engineers. I sat through 17 multi-week calibration sessions where we decided who gets promoted and who doesn't, who gets the bonus and who doesn't. And I onboarded dozens of new engineers into the company. And today I'm going to share with you the 4 things you need to know to be successful as a new engineer at Meta. The stuff I wish someone had told me on day one. Number 1, Meta is a performance-driven company. Number 2, Meta is a metrics-driven company. Number 3, Meta is a relationship company. And number 4, Meta is a show your work company. Meta is a performance-driven company. One of the most important things your manager does is rate your performance. And that rating determines everything. It determines your raise, your bonus, your promotions, even whether you stay or you go. And your manager is evaluating you on 4 specific axes from day one. You're going to be measured on your impact. That's the work that you've done for the business. Your engineering excellence, how you've executed against technical standards they have. Your leadership and direction setting, both of yourself and other people. And your impact on the people around you, including mentoring or team-oriented projects that you've done. Internalizing these really does matter because you need to begin with the end in mind. Before you even start your first project, sit down with your manager and ask them, what does a successful performance review look like for me in 6 months? Get very specific and get specific across each of these 4 axes. It's also important to have your manager internalize these axes. That sounds like their job, right? Well, yes, it is their job, but new managers might not actually know what these mean, or they might not actually know what meets expectations as a level 4 means for each of these axes. If they're new to managing or new to Meta, they probably haven't calibrated their ratings through enough performance review cycles yet to have internalized these and turn them into muscle memory. You can compensate for that by building relationships with and leveraging the experience of the people around you. Get to know your tech lead, get to know the other managers in your org, and then run your project plans by them. For one thing, they can give you feedback on whether or not your plan sounds like it meets or exceeds expectations for your level, and that gives you an opportunity to change it before the cycle ends. And when it comes to the end of the performance cycle, when all the managers and the tech leads are discussing your performance, there will be more than just your manager with context on your performance. Some sense of ownership over your career that extends beyond just your manager. Meta is a metrics-driven company. Meta, and even a lot of people at Meta, they don't care about your project because it's technically interesting. Meta cares about your project because it's moving the needle on something measurable that was agreed on in advance. Maybe it's daily active users, maybe it's engagement time, maybe it's revenue per year, whatever. Maybe it's infrastructure cost reduction, but it's something that someone at the top of the organization cares about. So here's what you need to do. Go find the orgs and the team's recent planning documents. Maybe it's by half, by 6 months, by quarter, by month, by whatever. There's some kind of plan somewhere that outlined what the team was going to invest in and how they were going to measure that progress. Now look at your personal plan. You have a plan, right, that you're going to invest in. We just talked about that. And then ask, where does my plan fit in with the organization's plan? What metric am I moving? Is there somebody who cares about that metric? If the answer is vague, like we're not really sure what metric you're moving, or it's kind of an exploratory project, I would be wary of this and dig deeper. Here's a reality for you. If there's no way to measure the impact that you're making, then the only way for you to exceed or greatly exceed expectations on that project is because it's really hard. Or maybe you're a really junior engineer and the expectation is you can't do it at all. That's not really a great spot to be in. You want to work on projects with measurable outcomes so you can know whether you are making progress towards a goal and to have some way to justify a better than meets expectations rating. Here's another unpleasant reality. If your project isn't connected to a top-line metric, it's at risk of being a nice-to-have. And when the company needs to do headcount reductions or reprioritize, nice-to-haves get cut first. You want to be clearly connected to something that matters to the business. That's how you succeed or even survive at Meta. Meta is a relationship company. It has a lot of products for sure, but almost all of them are relationship products. It is a social media company after all. Just as the products themselves are social, the company is social too. There are two implications for this for you as a new joiner. First, you've got to get to know people, and then you need to understand how communication works in your part of the org. Let's talk about building relationships. When you arrive there first, one of your first jobs is going to be building social capital by getting to know as many people as possible. It's not just going to some happy hours and like making some small talk with people around you. Okay, I mean actually getting to know people, understanding who they are, what they care about, what they're working on, and what does success look like for them. First, get to know everyone on your team. This sounds really obvious, but I'm mentioning it because I've had a number of new hires skip it, especially junior folks. You should know your teammates' names. You should know their projects. You should even know their career goals. It shouldn't take you a month for people on your team to get to know who you are. Second, get to know your cross-functional partners. That's your PM, your designer, your data scientist, especially the ones you're going to work with the most. Don't neglect those folks, okay? And I know this sounds obvious to experienced people, but juniors do need to hear this, that they are also part of your team. Third, get to know the senior engineers on adjacent teams. They're the ones your manager is going to ping when they're trying to gather information about you. They're the ones who's going to sit next to your manager at lunch and say something like, oh, that new hire that you got, I saw their code review, it was really solid. And finally, meet even with parallel managers, so managers of adjacent teams to yours. They're the ones that are going to sit in the same performance review meeting with your manager and vouching for people. Okay, so if they know you, if they trust you, if they respect your work, that's going to count for a lot in those performance review meetings. Okay, great. So you've gotten to know the people around you. Now there's another relationship aspect that's important at Meta. It's learning the cultural expectations of the communication in your part of the organization. Meta uses a version of its own product, its own Facebook product that's called Workplace to coordinate on and between teams inside the company. And it's pretty wild to have so much company context with like a bunch of posts and comments all available in kind of a news feed for your career. However it looks in your specific org, there is some overlapping hierarchy of internal groups to understand and to manage. Like there's probably one for your immediate team and one for each project you're going to work on. There's probably one for the broader org you're a part of and maybe like 2 or 3 levels above that, who knows. And then there are innumerable groups to help communicate between organizations based on projects. Figure out what these are as fast as possible. Honestly, your manager should tell you about them as you join. And then learn what content goes where and at what cadence. Participate in these groups, ask questions, answer questions, be that profile picture that people recognize. Talking about what content to post and where in Workplace brings us to our final insight, which is that Meta is a show your work company. Of course, Meta is like everywhere else. Your work doesn't exist unless people know about it. You could ship something incredible, move some huge metric, whatever, solve some massive problem. But if nobody sees it, it's not going to count very much at performance review season. And this is where those workplace groups come in. Post about your wins. Share what you've shipped, what you've learned, what metrics have improved. People scroll Workplace. They scroll through it. Your peers scroll through it. Your manager scrolls through it. Your manager's manager scrolls through it. You want to be seen there delivering business value. Post about progress too, and not just wins. Again, always post it in the right place, in the right group. Figure out where that goes. But if it feels like you're posting too much, you're probably posting just enough. You should be creating some kind of content there at least a couple of times a week. Make sure that you're being seen. All this posting has an added benefit in addition to just visibility. So when it comes to the end of the half and you're having to write a self-review about yourself, you've got a lot of content for that internal AI system to pull from when you're writing a summary of your half. So those are the 4 keys: performance, metrics, relationships, and visibility. You might not like those things. That's fine, okay? There are unpleasant realities to every job. And honestly, that's part of the trade-off in the total comp that you're going to be receiving, which is unimaginable for a regular job like 30 years ago. Meta can be a really fun company to work for and one whose culture still rewards impact and not just tenure or who you know. If you just landed a job there, congratulations. Now go out there and crush it. If you're preparing for a behavioral interview at Meta or any other company, make sure you check out my free newsletter or my book, Mastering Behavioral Interviews. You can go check them out in the link down in the description. The book is a step-by-step guide giving you the preparation you need, the practice you need, the insights you need to rock that interview that gets you the roles that matter the most.